I have a Christmas song for you, and hey, my pick-a-pick ukulele, I haven't played it in quite a while. It's just been kind of sitting in its case, and I just pulled it out, still in tune. What a deal. But anyway, so, Mele Kalikimaka, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I don't know if I am, but hopefully I am. Anyway, it's a song, give you a little bit of background. It was written by Robert Alexander Anderson in 1949, and he usually went by R. Alexander Anderson, R. Alexander Anderson. And the first famous recorded version was in 1950, Bing Crosby with the Andrews Sisters. And it was kind of, well, it was in a key that makes it a little tricky to play. And then there's a key change. I gotta fix my Santa hat. Then there's a key change, which then makes it even trickier to play. And then there's all kinds of chords, diminished chords, the seventh chords, and all kinds of things that just make it even trickier to play. So I've simplified it. So this is a nice simplified version of it. But anyway, a little bit interesting story, I guess. The story is that Robert Alexander Anderson worked at a place, and a secretary right before Christmas said, "Hey, why aren't there any Hawaiian Christmas songs?" Because this guy had written a few songs in kind of Hawaiian ukulele type things. And he thought about it and was like, well, I'm going to write one. And he did. And I love that, because that's a lot of the times sort of the impetus that I have to write, is that something doesn't exist and I feel that it should. Or I'd like it to exist. So anyway, that's kind of interesting. And it's a pretty simple song, so we will get to it. The beats per minute is, if you do 2 beats per chord, it's 90-ish. You know, there's so many different versions. You can do whatever you want. If you do 4 beats per chord, you just double that to like 180 beats per minute. So you end up, say for the D minor, okay, 2 beats at 90 would be something around like, you know, so then if you double it, something around there. Okay, but you get the idea. So you end up with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I realized that I threw in a lot of different strumming rather than just the 4 beats that I intended to show you. But anyway, so let's get on with it. We have a bunch of chords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chords. And so on ukulele, the D minor, and I'm going from the G to the A, it's 2, 2, 1, 0. The G7 is 0, 2, 1, 2. The C is 0, 0, 0, 3. The C7 is 0, 0, 0, 1. An F is 2, 0, 1, 0. And these will all be written underneath, yeah, like usual, like all my stuff. An A7 is 0, 1, 0, 0. The D7 is 2, 2, 2, 3. And G is 0, 2, 3, 2. Okay, so we have the intro and all of this, of course, written underneath. So we have D minor, G7, C, and there's so many different versions. This is just a cool version that I came up with. So the intro, D minor, G7, C, C, Then the verse, and I'll break it into two halves, is C, 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 G7, 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 C, C. Okay, so that's the first half. Then we have C7, twice, F, F, A7, A7, D7, G7, I had a momentary blank, then C, C, C7, A7, D minor, G7, C, then G. And that brings us back to the C for the beginning of the next verse. Okay, so if we go through it, the lyrics for the verses are all pretty much the same. So what we could do is an intro, G7, C, and then a verse. Then do a second verse, same lyrics and everything. Then a little instrumental section is just the first half of the verse. Easy, you know, just the C's and the G7s. Then the second half of the verse can be a bridge where you would sing the vocals again for that second half. So what is it? C7, C7, F with the vocals. I'm not gonna, you know, frighten you all and sing. A7, A7, D7, G7, C, C, C7, A7, D minor, G7, C, G. And then a full third verse, which is the same as the first and the second verses, except the last line, instead of the D minor, G7, C, G, we're going to do D minor, G7, D minor, G7, D minor, G7, C, C. And that's that. And that's the to say Merry Christmas, very Merry Christmas, you know, have a Merry Christmas to you, or, you know, whatever the words are, I don't know. So there we go. Hey, I'm just, you know, showing you the ukulele chords. I don't know the words to the song. So there we are. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Mele Kalikimaka. Boom.